Incredible reunion. Millionaire discovers childhood love selling lemonade. Her life-changing surprise awaits. As Jake stepped into the familiar, sun-soaked streets of Maplewood, memories rushed back like a tidal wave. The charming little town he once called home was still framed by dotted houses and friendly neighbors, the same backdrop where he spent countless days selling lemonade with Lily, his first love. It was hard to believe how swiftly life could turn. Now at 35, he was a self-made millionaire. But his heart ached as he thought of Lily's struggles. Suddenly, the excitement of the upcoming high school reunion felt heavy with nostalgia. Jake remembered the summer afternoons spent on his front porch, Lily's laughter echoing in the warm air as they called out to thirsty passers-by. They had shared dreams under the shimmering sun, envisioning lives that transcended their small-town borders. But as he strolled past the park where they had first kissed, his heart twisted with concern for her. Word around town was that the cafe she inherited was on the brink of closure. It was always the gem of Maplewood, and now it was struggling, betrayed by economic hardships and the lurking suspicion of townsfolk against outsiders. Every step felt like a commitment to return to roots long buried in the soil of wealth. As he pondered how he could save the cafe, his head swirled with expectations from his family, who discouraged any ties to their hometown past. They didn't understand the bond he shared with Lily. She mattered more than their judgment. Resolute, he decided he would help her to the reunion. Jake's heart sank as videos played of past football wins and prom nights, overshadowed by murmurs of disbelief when he introduced himself. "You've changed," they said, their eyes scanning his tailored suit, not the boy who used to peddle lemonades. Walking through the crowd, he spotted her, the sparkle in her eyes still vivid, although dulled by the burdens of reality. "You look great, Lily," he stammered, trying to hide the truth in his tone. But when he suggested investing in the cafe, her smile faded, replaced with suspicion. "Jake, you're not really one of us anymore," she replied with hurt etched on her face. The townsfolk around them seemed to echo her sentiment, crossing their arms with resentment. His stomach twisted. He was an outsider, and now so was she. Yet, he knew that their connection was still there, like a thread pulling them together against all odds. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Days later, a community event intended to breathe life into local businesses brought everyone out, but it quickly spiraled into chaos. Rifts erupted among the residents, old rivalries resurfaced, and anger flared. Jake's heart raced. The very community he wanted to help became a storm of judgment. Moments turned to shouts as he attempted to reassure them, but every effort seemed futile. Just as despair sunk in, an old friend confronted him, revealing jealousy laced with the truth of their shared past. As the frenzy subsided, Jake realized this was the moment he had long feared. He had to face his privilege. Would Lily accept his help? Could they resurrect a dream once so beautiful? The air crackled with uncertainty as he and Lily stood there, the storm of opinions surrounding them, searching for their way forward. Would love be enough to bridge the divide? Or would their past shadow their future? Jake stood at the center of that chaotic gathering, his breath hitching as the echoes of their past whirled around him. The faces of his old friends were a blend of nostalgia and animosity. Their grumbles filled the air with a thick tension, thick enough to choke the hope he had nurtured since he first returned. "Why should we trust you?" A voice cut through the din, seizing his attention. It was Greg, an old classmate whose dismissive glare made Jake's heart sink further. "You left us behind. You think a money bag can buy you back into our lives?" The crowd murmured, a mix of agreement and scorn. Jake knew he couldn't let their words grab hold. "I'm not here to flaunt my success. I'm here for Lily, for this town." He paused, searching for the right words. "I don't want to be the outsider, I want to help." But before he could say more, he glanced over at Lily. She stood rooted, her eyes wide but guarded, caught in a battle of emotions. Did she feel the years of history and love twisting into these new threads of doubt and tension? Jake's pulse quickened. "Lily, if you'll let me, I can help with the cafe. I believe in you." I believe in what you're doing. He stepped closer, his voice low enough for her to hear amid the chaos. She bit her lip, revealing the storm brewing inside. You don't get it, do you? I can't just take your money and pretend everything is fine. You've changed, Jake. And so have I. But even as she spoke, Jake could see a flicker of hope in her eyes. Underneath the layers of hurt and uncertainty, perhaps she still believed in the small-town dream they had spun together years ago. As the crowd simmered down, tension gave way to an awkward silence. It offered Jake a moment to breathe. He lifted his chin, determination flooding through him. Let us put it to a vote, he suggested, spinning on his heels to address not just Lily, but the townsfolk. Let us see if you want my help. We can hold a fundraiser, and if we don't reach our goal, I'll walk away. No strings attached. Lily blinked, disbelief flickering across her face. Jake, please, he interrupted, feeling the desperation rising inside him. Give us a chance. The murmurs rose again, but this time, there was curiosity mixed in with the skepticism. Maybe they noticed the sincerity in his eyes or the urgency in his plea for redemption. The townspeople began to exchange glances, weighing their options. Jake could see them studying Lily, searching for affirmation. Her expression gradually softened as she scanned the faces of her neighbors. If we're doing this, we do it together, she finally said. Her voice a gentle but steady anchor in the whirlwind. A wave of relief washed over Jake. But before he could celebrate, a new ripple of uncertainty tugged at the edges of his heart. They had taken a step forward, but could they truly rebuild something that had been lost? Their dreams, their love? As the community members assembled around them, ideas sparked like fireworks in the sky. Initiatives were tossed about, and the air thrummed with possibility. But between Jake and Lily lingered an unspoken question: could old wounds heal? Before he could grasp his thoughts, Lily turned to him, her expression serious. What if we fail, Jake? What then? He met her gaze, the weight of their shared history hanging thick between them. Then we figure it out together. Like we always did. The weight of her stare held him captive, and for a moment, he could see all their past promises dancing in her eyes. The laughter, the shared joy, and even the sadness. Could they transform this moment into a new beginning? The crowd began to disperse, but Jake and Lily remained, the uncertain future stretching before them like an uncharted road. They stood side by side, lost in thought, worlds of possibility hanging in the air between hope and reality. But just as Jake began to feel a sense of calm, a shadow fell over them. The unmistakable figure of Lily's estranged brother appeared on the edge of the crowd. His cold stare drilled into Jake, shadows of resentment hovering about him. What are you doing here, Jake? He spat. You really think you can waltz back into our lives and fix everything? The tension snapped taut, and Jake felt his heart race. The weight of the past was far from over, and now a fresh battle loomed. How would they confront this new challenge together? Would they be able to navigate through the storms ahead? The evening air crackled with unresolved emotions, but within that tension lay the promise of transformation. What would the next chapter hold for Jake and Lily? Jake's heart pounded as he faced Lily's brother Matt. The anger radiating from him was palpable, each word as sharp as a knife. Jake could feel the crowd's eyes on them, anticipation swirling in the air. Matt, I know you're upset, Jake began, his voice steady despite the fear edging its way into his gut. But I'm not here to stir things up. I just want to do something good for this town and for Lily. Good. Matt's laugh was bitter, almost cruel. You've been gone for years. You don't get to just come back and play the hero. You abandoned us when we needed you the most. Jake felt the weight of those words as if they were stones dropping onto his chest. Memories flooded back, faded visions of late-night conversations, laughter shared over the summer bonfires, and the moment he walked away, dreams in his pocket and guilt shadowing his every step. They need help, Matt. They all do, Jake said, his voice rising slightly. And I want to help. That's all I'm asking. Just a chance. Lily stepped in, her voice a soothing balm amid the brewing storm. Matt, this isn't just about Jake. It's about the cafe, our community. We can't just refuse help because of the past. We owe it to ourselves. Matt's eyes narrowed as he tossed a glance at Jake, then back at his sister. You don't know what's really going on here, Lily. You're blinded by some old memory of him. Let me be the judge of that, Lily shot back, an edge of defiance in her tone. Jake admired her more in that moment. She wasn't backing down, even with her brother's icy overwhelm standing in the way. The crowd now shifted, tension palpable on everyone's faces, uncertain of how the drama would unfold. Voices hushed. Jake took a shaky breath, sensing his chance was quickly slipping. What if I told you I'm not just here to donate money? I want to be hands-on. I want to help organize the fundraiser, bring the community together. Matt scoffed, folding his arms. If you care so much, why did you leave in the first place? Jake's breath caught. It was a fair question. How could he explain the weight of his dreams altering his vision? I thought I was doing what was best at the time. But I was wrong. I realize that now. I'm here and I want to fix things. A flicker of doubt passed across Matt's face, almost imperceptible but enough for Jake to seize upon. Jake stepped closer, his voice dropping, full of vulnerability. I never stopped caring about this place and I never stopped caring about you and Lily. I made mistakes. But I'm ready to make amends if you'll let me. Silence fell, the stillness charged as everyone awaited Matt's reaction. Jake held his breath, desperate for anything that signaled hope. Finally Matt glanced at Lily, whose gaze was unwavering, filled with a fierce mix of hope and spinal resolve. You really want to help? He asked, sounding both skeptical and curious. Yes, Jake replied, the words spilling out like a lifeline. I know I can't erase the past, but I can work towards a better future. Please give me this chance. The fight left Matt's stance just enough for Jake to feel the slightest breath of possibility. But still shadows loomed. The crowd murmured, excitement mixed with doubt. In that moment the reality hit Jake like a tidal wave. He was standing not only against Lily's brother, but against the ghosts of his past, the memories that tangled his heart like barbed wire. All he wished for was to untangle them, but would he be able to? As Matt finally shifted his posture, there was a weight to his decision lingering in the air. Would Matt give the green light for their plan? Or would he oppose it fiercely, driving a wedge deeper between Lily and Jake? All eyes were on them, anticipation thick as they waited for Matt's answer. The question hung suspended, palpable and charged, the air electrified with uncertainty. What direction would this confrontation take? Would they take a step towards unity or plunge deeper into division? Jake could feel his heart racing, desperate to see which way the tide would turn. The air thickened, each heartbeat amplifying the tension. The crowd held its breath, their faces a mix of concern and curiosity. Jake could practically feel Matt weighing his decision, the internal battle evident in his furrowed brow. Fine, Matt finally said, his voice gruff, but understand this. One slip up and you're out. You don't get to play savior and then vanish again when the going gets tough. Relief washed over Jake like a gentle tide. Yet the warning stung as it sank in. His journey to reconnect with the town and Lily would not be easy. I can do that, he asserted, a newfound steadiness in his voice. Lily stepped forward, her eyes sparkling with hope. Thank you, Matt. I know this is hard for you. Matt crossed his arms, trying to maintain his defensive stance, but Jake saw the flicker of approval buried deep in his expression. There was a long road ahead, but for the first time in years, Jake felt like the weight of his past was beginning to lift. Let us figure out a plan, Lily said, her voice brightening the atmosphere. We need to get the word out. Jake took a deep breath, adrenaline coursing through him. We could set up a community meeting at the cafe tomorrow. Gather everyone, share the vision, get their ideas. Matt nodded, still guarded but softer than before. Okay, but I'll be there too. If this fails, it's all on you. Lily turned to Jake, her smile a beacon of encouragement. This is a start. You're really doing this. Yeah, I am, he replied, the excitement bubbling within him. I can't change everything overnight, but I'm ready to put in the work. As the crowd began to disperse, murmurs of approval floated around. Jake felt invigorated, an electric thrill coursing through him when he caught Lily's eye. Suddenly the world felt full of possibilities. No longer the runaway chased by guilt, he felt the power of purpose. But as the initial adrenaline wore off, doubt crept in like an unwelcome shadow. Could he handle the expectations? What if he messed up again? Jake wiped his palms against his jeans, a nervous habit he thought he'd left behind. Hey, Lily said, her voice gentle as she came closer. You okay? Yeah, just processing everything. He met her gaze, searching for reassurance, and found it in her warmth. I want to do right by you, by everyone. You don't have to carry this alone. Jake nodded, sensing the strength in her words. They stood close together, the silence enveloping them in a cocoon of hope. For the first time, Jake felt that maybe this wasn't just an opportunity for redemption, but a chance to rebuild what he once lost. As night fell and stars emerged like distant dreams, they wandered into the cafe, a place filled with ghosts of laughter and memories. Jake scanned the room, imagining it bustling with life again, transformed by community spirit. If they could rally everyone, maybe they could turn things around. But then a thought nagged at him. What if the past had left scars too deep to heal? As he locked eyes with Lily, he realized that hope and fear danced a delicate balance. Each step forward could lead to triumph or unraveling. The weight of those uncertainties settled again, but amidst it all, the fire of resolve shimmered. He grasped Lily's hand, feeling the connection strengthen. Together? Together, she affirmed, determination lighting her features as they began brainstorming. The cafe brightened with potential, a tangible vision of what could be. Yet, as excitement swelled, Jake couldn't shake his longing for forgiveness, not just from Matt, but from the whole town that had once been his home. He glanced at the door, sensing shadows waiting outside, memories lurking just beyond reach. Would he truly be able to bring everyone together? Or would the past come rushing back to tear them apart? With a newfound sense of purpose, Jake leaned into the moment. But the question lingered like an echo in his mind: could he really transform his dreams into reality? Or was he simply chasing a ghost? The night deepened, filled with the promise of what was to come, but uncertainty loomed just beyond the horizon. Would Jake's efforts be enough to bridge the gap between past and future? The morning sun poured into the cafe, warming the once cold tiles that had seen too many late nights and whispered dreams. Jake was already inside, scribbling notes on a crumpled napkin, his heart racing as he anxiously awaited the townsfolk. Today was the day. Today he would lay it all on the line. Lily arrived early, her presence an instant bomb. "You look like you're about to jump out of your skin," she teased gently, not letting herself become nervous even as she noted the way he fidgeted with the edge of the napkin. Jake gave her a small smile, though it barely masked his nerves. What if no one shows? Or worse, what if they come and hate the idea? "Jake, you know these people. They want to believe. They want hope. You're their chance." Her words wrapped around him like a warm hug, grounding him as more familiar faces started filtering in. One by one, the townsfolk arrived, chatting quietly among themselves, eyeing Jake with curious looks. He could feel Matt's presence in the back, a brooding statue, arms crossed, judging. "Let us do this," Jake murmured to Lily, who nodded and squeezed his hand. They stepped up to the front where a small podium awaited. After a clearing of his throat that echoed through the cafe, Jake began. "Thank you all for coming," he said, voice trembling slightly but gaining strength with each word. "I know I'm not exactly the best example of reliability. I've let this town down, and I'm sorry for that." He caught glimpses of wary faces, but he pressed on. "But I want to change that. I want us to work together. I believe we can bring our community back, revive the spirit that I know is still here." A few murmurs of agreement floated through the crowd, and Jake's courage surged. He started sharing ideas, laying out plans for community cleanups, local festivals, and fundraisers to draw back businesses. He spoke of a fresh start, one fueled by collaboration and forgiveness. Then he turned his gaze to Matt. "I know I need to prove myself, but I truly believe we can create a new legacy together. I need your guidance to make this work." Matt held his gaze. A swirl of emotions played across his features. "You think you can just hop back into town and play leader?" he called out, the challenge sharp and clear. Jake nodded, undeterred. "Yes, I know it won't be easy, but I'm here to put in the work. For all of us." The room went quiet, tension crackling in the air as eyes darted among the crowd, gauging reactions. Jake swallowed hard, feeling the weight of their collective stare. Then slowly a hand rose. It was Mrs. Anderson, the town's unofficial historian. "I've lived here too long to know we can't do it without a bit of grit. If you're ready to give, I'll support you." Her voice was steady, imbued with the hope that Jake so desperately needed. Others followed suit, voices joining in unison, hesitant at first but gradually growing stronger. "Count me in. Let us get to work. We can do this together." As the energy in the cafe shifted, Jake's heart burst with a mix of fear and joy. Could it be possible they were really coming together? Just then a loud crash echoed from the back, drawing everyone's attention. Jake's stomach sank as he turned to see Matt's chair had toppled over. His expression contorted with anger. You think just words can fix this? You're dreaming. Jake recoiled, the support swelling around him suddenly feeling frail. People altered their focus, uncertain eyes searching for clarity in the tension. I just want to, Jake stammered, words trapped in his throat. Want to what? Fix decades of distrust with your dreams? Matt's voice resonated with the weight of his guarded heart. Jake's mind raced. Did he really believe he could heal these wounds? Could he prove himself worthy of their faith? Or was this hopeful spark nothing but a flickering light destined to be extinguished? As the room filled with murmurs, uncertain hopes mingled with hesitance. Jake's pulse quickened. Was he up for the fight? Or was he about to face another failure? This moment wasn't just about him anymore, it was about the whole town uniting. Or falling apart again. And his heart hammered with the question. Would they rally behind him? Or would he be the one to shatter their fragile hopes? Jake felt the air thicken with tension, the sphere of uncertainty hovering like a storm cloud. He watched as Matt clenched his jaw, the anger radiating off him like heat from a furnace. The whispers around Jake intensified, a mix of support and doubt, and he could feel cautious eyes darting back to him. Look, I know it sounds too good to be true, he said, voice trembling but firm, but I can't fix this alone. None of us can. We need each other. He glanced at Lily, who gave him an encouraging nod, her faith in him unwavering, but Matt wasn't letting up. You talk real nice, Jake, but you forget the scars. We don't bounce back as easily in this town. Trust doesn't come with pep talks. The crowd shifted uneasily, half of them seeming to lean toward Matt's doctrine of despair. Jake took a deep breath, searching for something to bridge the gap. What if we put our fears on the table? Unpack this anger, this mistrust? I'm willing to listen. I want to be part of the solution. He stepped forward, inviting engagement. Let us make this about more than just me. Share your stories, your frustrations. What do you want to see changed? Silence fell, making Jake acutely aware of the rhythm of his own heartbeat drumming in his ears. Slowly, Mrs. Anderson raised her voice again. We've lost a lot. Enhancing the cafe for fresh ideas isn't going to fix the roads falling apart, or the families packing up and leaving. We need extensive plans, bigger change. Encouraged, another voice piped up. Yeah. What about the old parade? That used to bring everyone together. Jake seized the moment. Exactly. Let us start brainstorming. Old traditions can inspire new beginnings. A few faces brightened. Enthusiasm bubbled in the air. Ideas flew, mixing with memories of better times. Suddenly, the cafe transformed from a battleground of apprehension to a vibrant think tank, full of chatter and renewed hopes. But in the corner, Matt's scowl remained unmoved. This isn't a game, Jake, he muttered, clearly among the few resistant to hope. It's not just about parties and parades. Jake turned again, a plea in his eyes. It's about community, Matt. It's about finding joy in the little things again. Isn't that worth fighting for? Matt stood rigid, and the cafe felt like it was holding its breath. Not even the clinking of coffee cups or the low hum of music dared to intrude. Jake could see people weighing Matt's words against his own, looking for certainty in this tumultuous sea of emotions. Finally, Matt tore his gaze away, slipping deeper into his reserved shell. You're making promises you can't keep. A wave of doubt crashed through the cafe. Were they all set up for another disappointment? Jake felt out of breath, the weight of expectations heavy on his chest. I understand your uncertainty, Jake said, his voice steady with determination. How about we focus on one concrete action we can take together? Something small, something real, so you can see this isn't just talk? Slowly, the tide began to shift again. Hesitant hands began to raise, suggestions peppering the air like seeds of change. Each idea sparked hope, igniting a shared sense of purpose. As the conversation buzzed, Jake glanced at Matt once more, the man still standing apart, a thunderous storm in his eyes. Jake knew this wouldn't be easy, but if even one seed of community could take root, maybe, just maybe, they would all transform together. And then, perhaps sensing that the momentum was shifting, Matt rumbled, his voice echoing in the now lively room. Prove it. Prove to me this isn't just a fantasy. The challenge hung heavily in the air. like a gauntlet thrown down. Jake's heart raced as he stared at Matt, catching the glimmer of determination beneath the anger. Would he rise to face this challenge or let it break him? In that moment he understood. It wasn't just a matter of dreams anymore. It was about actions, about turning scattered hopes into collective triumph. With a deep breath, Jake clenched his fists at his sides. I will prove it. And you'll see that dreams can become our reality again. The cafe buzzed with anticipation, all eyes on him, and the question echoed in Jake's mind as he took a step forward. Would he have what it takes to conquer the doubts, or would the light of hope flicker out one more time? Jake felt the weight of Matt's accusation press down on him, heavy and unyielding. The cafe, once filled with a flicker of hope, now seemed to be teetering on a precipice. He shifted his weight nervously, every eye in the room focused on him, waiting for his next move. Okay, Jake began, heart pounding. Let us make this real. We talk about a parade, but how about starting with a community event? Something small. A lemonade day, perhaps? Lily's eyebrows shot up, the excitement shimmering in her eyes. That could actually work. We can get everyone involved. Kids can set up stands, and neighbors can come together to share recipes and stories. The murmurs around the cafe started to swell. Ideas twisted and turned, forming a tapestry of something alive, something hopeful. We could set it on the old town square, one person added. Get some music going, bring in some games for the kids. But Matt stood firm, arms crossed, unwavering in his skepticism. A kid's lemonade stand isn't going to fix what's wrong here, Jake. You really think that's going to bring everyone together? Jake fought to contain the frustration bubbling up inside him. Look, Matt, it's not about transforming everything at once. It's about the act of coming together. It's a starting point, and starting is all we need. With a slight shake of his head, Matt retorted, if you think this is going to bring change, you're delusional. A hush fell again, the room thick with tension as the crowd awaited Jake's response to the relentless wall that was Matt. He took a moment to breathe, envisioning the faces of those he wanted to uplift with this plan. Maybe I am overreaching, Jake admitted, his voice softer but steady. But I believe in the little things. Small moments can lead to big changes, and this town, it deserves a chance to heal. A few nods began to ripple across the room, but Jake could still feel Matt's penetrating gaze. He took a step back, searching for a way to bridge the distance. You're not alone in this, Lily said, her voice breaking through the cloud of doubt. We'll support you, Jake. If this idea takes off, it could spark something bigger. Think of it as laying down roots. Gradually, the energy grew and people began to join in, sharing ideas animatedly as they envisioned a community event that could bring their fragmented town back together. But Matt remained skeptical. And how long are you willing to fight for a dream? He challenged, the atmosphere thickening with his doubts. What happens when it doesn't work? When yet again we're let down? The question struck deep, and for a moment, Jake felt the breath catch in his throat. The truth was, he too feared failure. He wanted to cry out that he was willing to risk everything for something that could change their lives. But the fear of letting everyone down loomed large. I don't have all the answers. Jake's chin raised, determination shining through even the cracks of uncertainty. But I promise I won't give up without trying. Even if we stumble, we'll stumble forward together. Slowly, the atmosphere shifted again as some faces lit up with encouragement while others hesitated, still held under the weight of doubt. Then suddenly, a voice rang out from the back, Mrs. Anderson again. What if we combine it with a bake sale? People always love baked goods. Laughter and chatter erupted as the ideas started flowing again, an infectious energy replacing the earlier tension. Jake felt the warmth of hope radiate through the cafe once more. But Matt crossed his arms tighter and his eyes darkened with resolve. Fine. Let us see you try. But let me tell you, if this fails, the trust you're trying to build will shatter like glass. Jake met Matt's fierce stare, something inside him igniting with the challenge. Then I'll make sure it doesn't fail. You'll see. The words propelled him forward with greater conviction. As people excitedly gathered in small clusters, brainstorming plans and logistics, Jake's heart beat with a new rhythm. It was a frail yet undeniable thread of hope, intertwined with fear and determination. And for the first time, he believed in this dream enough to claim it as his own. The stakes were high, and the challenge loomed large. But maybe this was just what they needed, a shared experience that could redefine their community. As excitement buzzed around him, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a greater journey. But in the back of his mind, doubts still lingered, wondering if it all could truly change. Was he chasing a dream worth believing in? In that moment, he wondered if Matt was right to warn him, but before he could spiral deeper into uncertainty, he caught a glimpse of something in the room. A flicker of hope glimmering in the eyes of so many surrounding him. Would they all find a way to truly unite and heal? The chatter and laughter echoed off the cafe walls, spilling out onto the street, where people paused to watch the enthusiasm unfold. Jake felt momentum building, the excitement igniting like the sun breaking through a cloudy sky. Lily was at the center of it all, her voice rising above the rest. "Let us set a date. We can do it in 2 weeks." Her energy was contagious, and whispers of agreement floated through the crowd. Jake watched, a smile breaking across his face as he felt the hope swell within him. But then a shadow loomed. Matt's skepticism still held the power to dim the light in the room. 2 weeks, he said, voice sharp. "Do you really think that's enough time to pull this off? What happens if it flops? You'll only be setting yourselves up for disappointment." A chill ran through Jake. The weight of doubt wormed its way back into his mind. What if Matt was right? What if, after all this energy and hope, they ended in failure? The moment spiraled, and for a heartbeat, the cafe felt smaller, the laughter fading into an unsettling silence. But Lily stepped in, her eyes locking onto Matt's. "If we don't try, we'll never know. We can't let fear decide our future." The room buzzed again, rallying around her words. "Exactly," Jake blurted, his voice gaining strength. "It's more than just lemonade or baked goods. It's about coming together. We have a chance to create something bigger than ourselves. We can build connections and friendships." Some of the faces turned thoughtful, nodding along, while others were still tangled in apprehension. Yet the energy was palpable, the way a storm builds in the distance before the rain breaks forth. Jake began to sketch out the ideas flowing through his mind, trying to harness the enthusiasm. "Let us get volunteers. We need tables and beverages. The community garden can provide fresh lemons." Each suggestion felt like a step further from doubt, lifting him higher. Then Mrs. Anderson raised her hand again. "What if we bring in local musicians? Live music always draws a crowd." Cheers erupted around the room, a small victory over doubt. Jake's heart raced as a flurry of excitement unfolded, each person pitching in their ideas, adding layers to what could become a sizable community event. Amidst the chaos, Jake's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, the screen illuminating his expression, Viola, a childhood friend. The message was simple. "I heard about the lemonade day. I'd love to help. Let us catch up?" The spark within him lit like a match to kindling. Viola had always believed in the power of togetherness, a force he hadn't thought about in years. Memories of their lemonade stands as kids tumbled into view, laughter spilling into summer afternoons, friends becoming a family. He quickly typed back, excitement threading through his fingers. "Absolutely. Can't wait to see you." But as he glanced up from his phone, his heart sank a little. Matt was still watching, his gaze still questioning. "What if this isn't enough? What if you can't keep it going past one event?" The air thickened as Jake searched for a response. Wasn't that the true fear? What if one day wasn't enough to ignite lasting change? Then something stirred in him, a realization he had to step up. Begins here. Each small moment can open doors we didn't know existed. Maybe this is all we need to remap our paths. The cafe seemed to hold its breath, eyes on him as hope mingled with doubt, the silence ripe with potential. As the noise around him resumed, Jake felt different. He was filled with purpose, a solid determination building within. Even if it was one step at a time, he had a feeling that this could be the start of something incredible. Just then Lily leaned closer. "Do you really believe that, Jake?" He paused, the question hanging like a promise in the air. "I want to. I think we all need to." With renewed resolve, Jake looked into the faces surrounding him. What if this small dream could be the seed of something profound? But as the laughter returned and ideas flared, another voice came from the back. "What if it's not just about lemonade but a chance to find what we've lost?" Jake's heart raced again. What could they discover about themselves along the way? He locked eyes with Matt one last time, a sense of challenge and understanding flashing between them. This was only the beginning. But what twists lay ahead? Would they uncover the true heart of their community? And as Jake took a deep breath, he realized the journey ahead would be just as important as the destination. Jake felt a current of energy surge through him as the cafe came back to life. Laughter blended with ideas, creating a tapestry of voices, woven tightly by shared dreams and budding hope. The challenge lay ahead, and he could almost taste the sweet anticipation in the AI's conversations danced. Jake turned to Lily, her enthusiasm infectious. "We need banners. Something colorful to catch people's eyes." His mind raced with details. "And a contest. The best lemonade flavor should win a prize." "Great idea." Lily beamed. "We can put a twist on the classic." "I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with." The sound of bustling footsteps approached, and a familiar face stepped into view. Viola walked through the cafe's entrance, her smile lighting up the room. The laughter paused, eyes shifting to her, and in that moment, it was as if the very air held its breath. "Jake, you're doing this." Viola's voice rang out, filled with warmth as she joined them. "I heard it from my mom. I had to be here." Jake couldn't help but return her smile, the memories of their childhood flooding back. Lemonade stands on hot summer days, hours spent mixing flavors with a carefree spirit, and giggles over spilled sugar. "Viola, this is amazing. We're really trying to make it happen," he said, unable to contain the excitement in his voice. "Of course." She looked around at the group, her eyes twinkling. "Let us make this incredible. I know a few local farmers who might donate some fresh produce, and we can reach out to our old school friends. It's time we all come together." Jake felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. It was more than just the event now, it was a reunion, a chance to reconnect with old friends and share something meaningful within the community. But Matt's voice cut through the jubilant mood once more. "You think that a few donations and some nostalgia will really make a difference? What if it goes nowhere?" The tension returned, the air thick with doubt, but Jake was ready. "It's not just about the lemonade. We're looking for more connection, memories, rebuilding what we've lost." He stood taller, feelings swelling within him. "We're not promising a perfect result, we're promising to try. Isn't that worth something?" A few heads nodded, a gentle murmur of agreement rolling through the crowd. It was enough to ignite hope again, lifting the weight of negativity. Lily jumped in. "We can draw in the community with our stories. Let us ask everyone to share their favorite lemonade memories, and we can display them at the event." A buzz of excitement rippled through the cafe once again. Ideas flowed freely, and as Jake scanned the crowd, he was struck by faces he hadn't seen in years: friends, neighbors, even classmates. This wasn't just a gathering, it was a revival. Amid the chatter, Jake met Viola's gaze, and for a moment, everything else faded. The shared past, the laughter, they weren't just memories. They were the threads that connected them all. "We could remind everyone that we're stronger together," he said softly as the ideas continued to spin. Jake could feel the heartbeat of the community pulsing stronger, a heartbeat he longed to be a part of. They were co-creating something that could resonate far beyond the day of the event. The thought was exhilarating, until Matt spoke again, this time with a peculiar intensity. "But what if trying just brings back the memories of failure? What if facing our past only deepens the hurt?" The question hung heavy in the air. Jake's heart raced. It was the very fear they were trying to overcome. If they delved into the past, would it lead them to healing or heartbreak? As silence wrapped around them like a tight embrace, Jake realized the stakes had risen. This was more than a lemonade stand. It was a step toward healing, facing their truth head-on. What if they could transform this event into a journey of discovery, not just for themselves but for everyone involved? And as the cafe began to buzz once more, Jake found himself wondering, were they ready to confront their pasts if it meant securing a brighter future? Would they find not just courage but connection amidst their fears? His heart echoed his determination. This wasn't just about lemonade. It was about rekindling lost relationships, embracing vulnerability, and maybe, just maybe, learning to embrace the hope that had always been waiting for them. But as Jake suddenly remembered, they were only 2 weeks away from the event that would reveal all. Would it truly change everything? Or would they find themselves facing the dark shadows of unhealed wounds? The day of Lemonade Day arrived, the sun shining brightly over Maplewood. Jake stood outside the cafe, a flutter of nerves bubbling within him. Rows of tables were set up, each adorned with colorful displays, all ready to invite the community. The air hummed with laughter and chatter as friends and neighbors began to fill the square. He hadn't expected such an overwhelming turnout. Lily stood beside him, her eyes gleaming with excitement as she orchestrated last-minute preparations. "Can you believe how many people showed up?" She beamed. "This is incredible, Jake." Jake nodded, feeling the flood of warmth that their town was radiating. But just as quickly, the flicker of anxiety pressed down on him. What if it wasn't enough? What if the shadows of doubt returned? Shaking off the worries, he plastered a smile on his face. "Together we can do this." Viola joined them, carrying a basket of fresh fruit donated from local farms. "Everyone loves a tangy twist. This will spice up our lemonade." The enthusiasm in her voice sharpened as she placed the basket on the table. As the hours rolled by, children rushed between stalls, laughter echoing in the air. Neighbors exchanged stories, memories flowing freely like the lemonade itself. Jake felt magic weaving through the crowd, a tapestry of connection sprouting amidst all the chaos. And then Jake caught sight of Matt standing at the far end of the square, arms crossed, watching. As if sensing a strain in the atmosphere, Lily's gaze slipped toward Matt. "He's still skeptical," she said quietly, concern flickering in her eyes. "Yeah," Jake sighed, biting his lip. "But today is about more than just lemonade. It's about showing him how far we've come together." Summoning courage, Jake approached Matt. "Hey man, how are you holding up?" Matt shifted, a hard look on his face. "Is all this really enough? Just lemonade and laughter?" Jake knew the stakes. "It's a beginning, Matt. Look around. It's hope blooming from our past. It won't fix everything overnight, but together we can face the scars and heal." Matt paused, his gaze lingering over the crowd. Slowly, grudgingly, he nodded. "It's nice to see everyone come together again, but don't get your hopes up too much." Jake took a deep breath, realizing the weight of those words. "You've been hurt, I know. We all have, me too. But we're trying to redefine what it means to be together. And I really want you to be part of that," he said sincerely. "Maybe," Matt replied, his voice softer. Suddenly, a commotion broke out nearby, shouts of joy erupting as kids won prizes for best lemonade flavors. The atmosphere surged, laughter like music filling the air. And even Matt's guarded posture seemed to ease. Jake motioned for Matt to follow him. "Come on. Let us celebrate." As they joined the crowd, Jake watched as people embraced, sharing hugs and laughter. It was more than just a festival. It was a community coming alive again. Then as dusk began its descent, a surprise unfolded. Someone climbed onto a stage that had been hidden earlier. It was Mrs. Anderson, mic in hand. "I'd like to propose a toast to Jake and Lily for sparking this revival in our town. Thank you for reminding us of who we are." The cheers erupted, and Jake felt a flush of warmth surge through him. He locked eyes with Lily, her smile radiant. "And I'd like to add," Mrs. Anderson continued, "let us commit to something bigger. Let us dream together. Not just for Lemonade Day, but moving forward." Everyone clapped, eyes sparkling with excitement. Jake felt the collective heartbeat of the town pulsing within him, a unity stronger than ever. As the evening continued, Jake and Lily found themselves together on stage, bathed in the warm glow of string lights above. With Matt standing among friends, laughter echoing around them, it felt as if they were all embracing a new beginning. "Can you feel it?" Lily whispered as they watched the crowd. "This is just the start, Jake." "It is," he replied, feeling the weight of regret begin to lift. "We're finally turning dreams into reality, one lemon at a time." Lily turned to him, eyes brimming with emotion. "And we're doing it together." The moment lingered, profound and beautiful, as hope blossomed in the heart of Maplewood, nodding forward into a bright, shared future. As the stars twinkled above, Jake knew they had opened a door. They had rekindled connections, made lasting memories, and begun turning the tides of their past into something wholly new. In that warm embrace of community, the air brimmed with a sense of possibility like never before. And Jake's heart swelled, filled with love and gratitude. They had reached for transformation, and in so doing, they had changed everything. As the event began to wind down, Jake turned his gaze toward the people gathering at the tables, the laughter shimmering like fireflies in the night. It was the moment he had worked for, the spark igniting a flame of unity. Emboldened, he faced Lily, determination bright within him. This is just the beginning. We can keep this fire burning. And as they stood shoulder to shoulder, eyes set on the future, he felt at last that he was home. Remember, your journey isn't just about one lemonade stand but the transformation that grows beyond it. Support the thriving spirit of community. Let us inspire each other. Now don't miss out. Subscribe immediately to the channel for more exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share your feelings about this heartfelt ending. Comment below to tell us how this story touched you. Share instantly with 5 friends who need to feel this sense of hope and transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.